Welcome back to episode number 38 of the Not So Serious Life. Stephen Dracula Chandler and Jason Richard Goldberg here to humorize and simplify your life and your amazing questions on the Not So Serious Life. Steve, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing extremely well, Jason, and it's good to have you back in the country.
It is good to be back in the country. I was in Costa Rica recently, and then I don't know if I told you this. I got stuck in the country for a day. Yeah, okay. It was crazy. And so we had all this stuff. We were in the airport for 6 hours, and then we went to the hotel finally, and we had to wait 2 hours for a room, and all this stuff happened. And finally, we get back to our room, and we want to eat, so we want to order room service. So I call up room service, and nobody answers. Okay. So I call the front desk, and nobody answers. Okay. So I go down to the front desk and I say, hey, I'd like to order room service. They said, oh, well, you can just go back to the restaurant and order right there. I said, okay. So I walk back to the restaurant to order and they say, you have to call from your phone in the room. You can't order right here. And I said, but I called and they wouldn't let me. Nobody answered. And the front desk said to come back here. And so finally they took my order. And the best part of all of this is that I got the room service and there was a delivery charge that was booked into it. What delivery charge? I'm in the hotel. I can't pick it up myself. I'm very emotional about this, Steve.
Yes, I know.
This doesn't happen in the States.
Well, a lot of this might trace back to your Judeo-Hebraic ancestry. Sensitive about little things like this.
Very sensitive. Why do they charge a delivery fee? Okay. All right. You like that? It's a good accent. All
Yeah,
right.
you're right there in the Catskills.
It was perfect. Okay. You want to get into the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
cool.
go. Let's get the question.
Cool.
And before we get the question,
Yes.
however, Jason,
Yeah.
I want to challenge you with one more Beatle challenge.
Oh, God, Steve, I suck at these.
Oh, you know, this is very amusing to our audience to watch you struggle with this. Now, first, here is this Beatle from behind, which that's a huge challenge, so I'm going to make it real easy for you. Name the Beatle. Who is this? Which Beatle is this Beatle?
That right there, I am 100% certain, is John Lennon. And by
You
John
can tell-
Lennon, I meant Paul McCartney.
Look, you already, no. I have to say this, and I know our audience is calling out the name of this Beatle. He was known as the Quiet Beatle. A movie by Martin Scorsese was made about this Beatle. His name, George Harrison.
George Harrison. I thought George Harrison was the one that was married to Barbara Streisand and had the orange skin.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have to talk offline. We're going to have to go into the green room and really have a serious talk.
God.
So, what's our question for today?
Steve, I love disappointing you. Okay, so the question for today comes from Dr. Jayanie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dr. Jayanie. And the question is, how do I stay on the path when it seems like I'm not making progress? So she says, how do you maintain consistency in actions towards your ultimate dream or goals when all the results indicate you're not reaching it yet? How can I get through those tough times when it seems like nothing is working? I'm asking this question because I'm going through a time where I'm doubting myself and making my new business work as a full-time career financially, even though my wisdom tells me this is my path and I get amazing feedback. I appreciate it's the early days and I only quit my job 4 months ago, but it's a hard slog. So the question from Dr. Jayani is, how do I stay on the path when it seems like I'm not making progress?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've definitely felt that way. Have you ever felt that way, Steve, when you were working on anything new?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I felt that way many times, and I would change careers. And a lot of times when I'm introduced, when I give a talk, people say, "Oh, what an interesting person. He's been a sports writer. He's been in the music business for 5 years as a lyric writer. He's done coaching. And I picture my father in heaven saying, in other words, he couldn't hold down a job, couldn't keep a job, and so that was more true. That I just kept changing careers, but there is one thing that I finally figured out that worked.
What was that?
When I'm slogging or struggling on the path or don't know what to do and not getting results, and that was to ask for help. And it's an ironic, paradoxical thing that asking for help is strength. It's not weakness. It's strength because I'm adding the strength of the people who are helping me to me. And so many people think that they have to go it alone, This is only their problem. They need to know how to solve this by themselves, and they don't ask for help. They don't get help. I say get help. Help is there. There's so many people who are really good at helping you do what you think right now you don't know how to do. And when you reach out for help, it's just amazing what changes. You and I know this from the profession we're in. We go into groups and go to seminars and get people to help us move to the next level. And and if you can't afford help, there are ways to get help where people will help you anyway.
Yep.
So that's the number one thing, is to reach out, ask for help, and don't confuse it with weakness.
I love that. Yeah, it is such a thing. Like, I don't know if it's a societal conditioning thing, but it's like, yeah, like you said, asking for help means I can't do it alone. It's some like proof that I'm not good enough, and so I have to ask for help. But we get to ask for help. Like, there's so many people that are willing to help us. It's like everybody's on our side, or the majority of people are on our side. They want to see us succeed. So we're doing a service by allowing them to help us, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful.
And why would you want to do it alone? Everyone's saying, I thought, people who come into recovery from addiction, I thought I could do it alone. I thought I should be able to do this by myself. And why would you want to?
Yeah.
Well, what's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Reach out. Let people connect with you. Let people help you. It is not weakness, because you can help others too. You'll be helping others down the road.
Yep.
And so it's not weakness. It is the answer.
I love that. Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking when I saw this question was, progress. And I know this because I've done it myself. A lot of times I think we will interchange the words progress and results like they're the same thing, right? If I'm making $100,000 a year in my business, that's progress. No, that's a result, right? Progress is putting one foot in front of the other and staying on the path and taking consistent action. So if Dr. Jayanie says, what is it, how do I stay on the path when it looks like I'm not making progress? If you're showing up every day, you're making progress, right? I think that's a huge thing to know.
That's the plateau, and we confuse the plateau with failure.
Yes.
And every journey to mastery contains time on the plateau. Like you're learning to play the piano, and it just feels like I'm not getting any better. I do my lesson every day, and then all of a sudden one day, wow. That's because I was on a plateau. And I had a client of mine use a phrase once that I just loved, and he called it invisible progress. That you're making progress without knowing you are. So stay with it, stay on the path. And then one day there will be a quantum leap.
I love that. It's funny, that brings up something for me. When I was going through my weight loss, we had these things, there was a group of us who were losing weight together, and we had these things that were called NSVs. NSVs, and NSV stands for non-scale victory. So while everybody else was getting on the scale every single day obsessively and saying, I didn't lose any weight today, I didn't lose any weight. But they say, you know what? I had this non-scale victory where my pants were a teeny bit looser than they were the day before. And it's like, boom, that small win is so huge. So for Dr. Jayanie, as a part of your progress, look for small wins. And one of the things that I think I heard first actually from Brian Johnson, who we both know and love, I think he's the first one I heard say that it's about consistency over intensity, right? Consistency over intensity. And so the question I would have you ask yourself, Dr. Jayanie, which I think is a great question, and I ask myself too, is instead of am I making progress, just ask yourself, how am I making progress? Because you definitely are. And if you can get a little more creative about seeing that, I think that'll give you the motivation to stay on the path.
Good.
Cool. So that is episode number 38. Dr. Jayanie, thank you so much for your question. That was a great question. The questions just seem to keep getting better and better. So one up Dr. Jayanie by sending in your question to questions@thenotsoseriouslife.com. And don't forget to head over to our website to see all the past episodes and to sign up for our inner circle at thenotsoseriouslife.com. We love you guys. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for being on the ride. And we will see you next time. Peace out.
Peace.